going on?
And her sister is missing for 48 hours. Either way, she's missing. We can't find her, and we are at a loss.
My reason for calling is that her rental unit has been entered by another individual. We have it on surveillance tape.
I cannot bear to think of the pain and fear she must have experienced that night.
I'll pray for your family, but I won't pray for you, because you are the devil.
So your storage unit up there up on North Hill, when was the last time you were there?
It breaks my heart that the last face she saw was that of Michael Olson, the vicious person who raped and murdered her.
There was nothing out of the ordinary when 68-year-old Mary Kay made a trip to her storage unit in Talmadge Avenue at the self-storage centre. Mary's family stated that they last spoke to her on June 17, 2019. Since then, she has completely dropped off the radar and was unreachable over calls or text. She even failed to attend to her business at her antique shop, and there was no new news about the missing woman for 2 or so days. Worried and anxious about Mary's well-being, her family finally reported her missing on June 19th.
Hi. What's going on?
And her sister is missing for just about 1 hour, 48 hours. She didn't feed her cats. Her cats are everything in the whole wide world.
Yep.
Can't find her. I mean, we've checked the house. We've checked everything.
Yeah, she's not at any local hospitals because we were called out
Yeah, I
yesterday.
did that this morning. We checked the jails.
Okay.
She's not there. She doesn't do this.
Any idea where she'd go?
Here's the only thing we can piece together. She had phoned her sister, left a message that she had a handyman that could look for her and he could come to Pennsylvania, look for her and stay in her house. And that's the last message, last anybody heard.
Did he give you this guy's name or anything?
No, that's the thing.
And the police immediately began their investigation. Fortunately, it did not take long for authorities to find a breakthrough in the case. Just hours after Mary was reported missing, an employee from a self-storage facility on Talmadge Avenue recalled seeing Mary a couple of days earlier, and with that observation, he started to look through the self-storage CCTV. What he found was absolutely terrifying. After he made this discovery, he called the police straight away and spoke to them about what he had picked up on the CCTV cameras.
Akron Police Fire, Stephen R.
Good morning. My name is Craig. I work at Leslie's Floor Sandy. We have rental units behind our building, and there is a lady that has been missing. I don't know if a report has been filed.
Okay.
Her name is Katie Wolford. My reason for calling is that her rental unit has been entered by another individual. We have it on surveillance tape.
Okay.
And to my knowledge, that individual has no permission, reason, authority to go in there.
Okay. So Katie, well, how do you know she's missing?
Well, her partner, a man by the name of Dave, they both rent units from us. And he came in Monday evening, asked Richard, the other fellow that's here, if he had seen Katie Wolford. And Richard said no. And Dave came in again this morning, and I started looking for the security tapes that we've got, and I found this individual going into her unit.
can see from the footage, Mary seems to have a rather strange encounter with a man. The CCTV cameras recorded a man entering Mary's storage unit. The footage also showed the man in question entering his unit, located right opposite the one Mary owned. The police wasted no time in carrying out a thorough search and ultimately recovered Mary's body from the second unit. Later, an autopsy ascertained the victim was raped, and the cause of death was determined to be blunt force trauma to the head and neck. From the beginning of the investigation, the police made a massive headway as the victim's body was recovered from the suspect's storage unit. Besides, the suspect in question was also captured on CCTV footage, and it did not take long for authorities to determine his identity as 35-year-old Michael J. Olson. The sad part is, the last thing Mary did before she was raped and murdered was help the man who became her killer. Mary Kay actually knew Michael, and that day she had assisted him with cleaning and vacuuming his storage unit. Michael, who worked as a handyman, knew Mary and had even worked for her on previous occasions. However, there was no indication of an apparent altercation or feud between the two that would have led to her murder. As she emptied out the dirt into a dumpster, Michael waited behind a trash container, ready to attack. He then hid in Mary's unit, and then when she entered, he took her by surprise and beat her to death with a broken fireplace poker. After she was dead, he then proceeded to sexually assault her corpse before tying her legs behind her back and moving the body into his storage unit. As you see him leave her unit, you can see the blood-stained shoes leaving prints as he walked away. He then proceeded to change his clothes, pack up Mary's possessions, and drive away in her Kia Sedona. With all of this being captured on CCTV, there was no denying his involvement in the murder of Mary Kay, so police tracked him down and brought him in for an interrogation, and this is how it went.
We're gonna put this on, this is just to please, we put this on you, man.
No problem.
Alright. I don't remember.
You go by Michael or James? Mike. Okay, we'll call you Mike. Alright. And, however we stand on that smoke would be great if you could.
Yeah, I'll let you go here.
Alright. Every time I keep hitting this thing, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it is a little chilly over here.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, it is.
So I read your Miranda rights. You understand those?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Keeping those rights in mind, we'd like to talk to you about another issue. So today, you told Detective Brayton that you were mulching out there at Coventry.
Yes, yeah, we went to Atkins, find a small store, get them.
Did you? Well, we met your dad today, and he was saying that.
You met my dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you talk to your dad on the phone today at all?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah.
And
What'd
you
you have?
you ran out of gas.
Yeah, I ran out of gas, I've been running out of gas a lot lately, I've been a little bit broke. Yeah, so.
Okay. Like he asked, what did you guys talk about, you and your dad?
Like you said, he called me up earlier to go get I had to bring up the half load finish gun, and then that was about it.
Did he say that we wanted to talk to you?
We?
The Akron Place?
No, not at all.
So your storage unit up there up on North Hill.
Yeah. Well,
It's your dad's.
It's my dad's, yeah, it ain't mine.
Who has access to it?
Me and my dad. Yeah, and then there's
Anyone else?
No, but I mean, I don't know if you know about theft that was up there not that long ago. This guy used to get into all the units, stole all types of shit. Silver Tim Bolser, I don't know if you know that name. Yeah, but me and my dad are the only ones that had the keys for it. But yeah, so that's.
Okay.
When was the last time you were there?
I was up there either this morning or yesterday morning. I can't remember what actually day it was.
Now, are you aware that that storage area, they've got all kinds of cameras?
Oh yeah, because of the theft. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we actually, like we said, we met your dad. We met your dad up there at the storage unit. And we both were standing next to him when he was trying to call.
Yeah.
So when was the last time you were up at the storage unit?
Like I said, yesterday morning, can't remember what day it was.
Were you up there Monday?
What's today?
Today is Wednesday,
Monday.
2 days ago.
I've been up there sporadically throughout the last week. I don't know exactly which day, but what's the day? Wednesday? No, I think I was up there Monday. No.
When's the last time you saw them?
I don't know, 3-4 days ago, something like that. 5 days. I literally, my days have been running together so much that I've been freaking going crazy.
Sheila, come on.
Yeah, that's Dave and Kathleen? Katie? That's the same name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Who is she?
She has a storage unit up there, I think, with her, I thought it was her.
When's the last time you saw her?
I think probably just Saturday, Sunday, something like that. I was up there doing some stuff around the shop.
Okay. What about Monday?
I don't think I was up there Monday. I really don't. I don't think I was up there Monday. I know I was there over the weekend.
Well, like I told you, there's video.
Yeah.
And we watched video.
Yeah.
And
No, you watched the video.
Yeah, did you talk to her at all?
No. Yeah, well, she actually tried to knock on my door one night. She said I was sleeping up there. I fell asleep or something. She gave me a fan if I was hot or something. So I had talked to her before, yeah.
So, would her DNA be in your storage unit?
No, not at all.
Not at all?
No. Why would her DNA?
Well, the reason I think we're asking about her is because the family made a report. They haven't seen her in a couple of days.
What the?
So we're trying to find her.
DNA? Why? No, she was, if anything, she stepped right inside my unit and gave me and she blew off the filter for my shop vac that I was using. This is ridiculous.
Okay. So, on Monday, her sister got a phone call, or actually a message left on her machine, saying Katie was telling her she has this handyman named Jim Olson.
Oh yeah, her sister in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I was gonna do a little work trip for her, but
Okay, remember having that conversation?
Yeah.
Monday?
So you saw her Monday, or sometime in the last couple of days.
Yeah, last couple of days, yeah.
Yeah, because she's been missing for a couple of days, so we've been trying to find her. Do you have any idea where she might be? Did she talk about where she was going?
No idea. She did not say where she was going.
No.
No.
Again, there's video, and this was Monday, it shows you moving her van.
No.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't moving her van.
Yeah, I mean, video doesn't lie. Can you explain that?
No, I can't. No. Wasn't me.
Who else would drive your truck?
Drive my truck?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. Nobody.
Do you know why we found any blood in her unit?
Pardon me?
Why we found blood in her unit?
You found blood in her unit?
Yeah. Do you have any cuts from when you were?
I've got cuts all the time from working construction, man. All the time.
But again, the blood that we found in her unit.
Oh, is it even my blood? No. How would that be my blood? I didn't cut myself over there. So no.
So, we find evidence, different things, hair, blood, different objects, and we can kind of piece together what happened. So, I mean, sometimes people fuck up, and they do something, they get themselves in a predicament, they get worried. I mean, something happened on accident, they get scared, they try to cover it up, they don't want to, try to explain it. Well, now's the time to explain what happened that day.
What's it, Monday?
Whatever day it was.
Tuesday or Sunday, there's nothing to explain.
We found lots of blood in your storage unit. We found sticks, instruments with a lot of blood. Sergeant Mark said.
Then someone's gonna frame you or something, it's ridiculous.
No, you just said that the only two people that have access to your unit.
But somebody, like, if you ever look up in the saw pit, that fucking Tim, he's trying, I bet he's trying to get back.
No.
I don't think that's the one that they're.
We have video of you talking to Katie.
Well, yeah, I've talked to Katie before.
Talking to her on Monday, driving her van away. Her keys,
stupid.
her keys were found in your dad's basement today.
You know, shit.
No, how did Tim get out there and plant that?
Tim fucking, he's fucking.
No.
That's not the narrative you want to try to go with. That's not gonna work for you, buddy.
Something bad happened to Katie, you know it. You know what happened. It's like Sergeant Marquette is giving you the opportunity to give us your narrative.
Yeah. So stupid, this fucking life.
What happened? Does she want to give you some money? She want to give you a job? What? We have,
Yeah.
the sticks.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened, Michael. I mean, it's probably gonna help you. I mean, you can't feel good holding this in.
No, not really. I just,
Tell us what happened.
I snapped, man, I snapped,
About what?
something came over me, I don't know.
What makes you?
My ex-girlfriend, dude, it was a downfall, it's not, she wasn't holding a gun to me, my ex-girlfriend, but she made me a different person because of her toxic, narcissistic ways. I was mentally, verbally, and emotionally abused, I don't know, just, I snapped, and Katie said something about my fucking ex-girlfriend, I don't know. You know what?
Well,
Yeah, I snapped.
tell us what happened.
I mean, I think you know what, I think you're just getting me wanting to say it.
That's why I told you, this is your narrative. This is your chance to say for your story.
Yeah, well, I just.
Are you just a cold-blooded,
No, I snapped.
homicidal maniac?
Not at all.
Or was it
I
heat
just-
of the moment?
Heat of the moment type of thing, dude, I snapped.
So take us through it, man.
I just went over there, hit her on the head, that was it.
What'd you hit on the head with?
Yeah, something I don't know,
Like a metal pipe, a walking stick,
something in there.
wooden?
Yeah, it was actually a piece of, I don't even see a piece of the fireplace stick, I think one of it was broken. I don't know, I just saw it, I grabbed it, and I just fucking snapped it.
Did you do it in her unit or?
Done
I
what?
didn't.
And then I just, I don't know, just tried to get rid of the evidence, but it was a stupid idea to do. It was like, what the fuck? It was dumb, I shouldn't have never done it. Obviously, I'm going to jail for the rest of my life, but I snapped, man. I've been so emotionally and verbally abused. You have no idea. I got a mother that fucking, staying with from 35 years old. You have no idea. Yeah, you have no idea. So there's my narrative, a little bit.
Well, can you explain why her clothes got ripped, or?
Shoot, I mean, it was just.
Yeah, sexually.
No, I did not sexually assault her. Not at all, dude. I was actually gonna try to get her in the plastic and get rid of it, burn the clothes, but I've been a person my whole life. I snapped because people have been riding my ass.
Well, you were talking to her. What'd she say that reminded you of your girlfriend?
We were kind of talking about her a little bit, and she said that maybe you did this to her, or whatever.
So she was blaming you?
I never did a fucking thing to that ex-girlfriend of mine. I treated her like a fucking queen.
So you said you just saw something laying there?
I was sitting there, and I picked it up, and I was mad.
Where'd you hit her at? Back right? Anywhere else?
Did she see you? Were you facing her or? No.
You know how many times you hit her?
Just maybe once or twice, 3 times maybe, and then I strangled her. I just stick on her neck. Just snapped, and that smell of death, man. I fucking hated it. Every turn I smelled my clothes. Oh, Mom, Dad, if you ever watch this, I love you, I'm sorry. Should never have done it. Just snapped. Just fucking snapped.
Once produced in court, Michael J. Olson insisted on his innocence and pled not guilty to the charges against him. But as you can imagine, this did not go well for Michael. Here are some of the highlights from the sentencing.
I want this guy to look at me. Look at me, punk ass. Well, hold on. I won't say nothing else. You make me sick to my stomach. I feel bad. I'll pray for your family, but I won't pray for you. Because you are the devil.
Not a day goes by I don't think about what I did, how long it was, and albeit drugs did have a big factor in this. I mean, I chose to do those drugs. There's no more I can say. Just hope that one day you will see that I'm not the devil.
He was ultimately convicted of rape, aggravated murder, gross abuse of a corpse, trespassing in habitation, and grand theft of a motor vehicle. Subsequently, in 2019, Michael was sentenced to life in prison without parole for aggravated murder, along with more than 20 additional years for the other charges combined. As parole is out of the question, Michael remains incarcerated at the Northeast Ohio Correctional Center in Youngstown, Ohio. I must admit to you guys, this case has really stuck with me and reinforces the fact that there is evil everywhere. Mary did not do nothing but help this man, and he took her life for no reason. What it's taught me is to be very wary of your company at all times. You don't know people as much as you think you do. Well, that wraps up today's story. If you found that one interesting, please like this video and leave a comment down below, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next one.